Alright guys, tonight we have a special treat for us and for you. Port Ellen, Provenance edition, 21-year-old, awesome scotch.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Scotch for Dummies, and look at this.
4 dummies on the bar with Provenance.
Pull up a chair.
Port Ellen. Pull up a chair. Stay tuned for what we're going to learn about this. Well,
Let me lay it on you,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Let me talk to you about it. So, we have had this bottle on the bar for what I would like to refer to as entirely too long.
Infinity.
We were blessed enough to have a friend of our show send us about a quarter, a third of a bottle of
An
this.
extremely generous friend.
Pour it early so you can sit.
I'm
here for a little bit.
gonna take this, and you guys talk.
So while Andrew's trying to sneak out the back with it, let's talk about Port Ellen for a minute. So, if you don't know anything about Port Ellen, it is a closed distillery. It is on the island of Islay.
They don't make this anymore.
They do not make this anymore at
Negative.
all. So this distillery was
Sort of a
founded
special
in.
treat for us, really.
It's amazing. Like, this is a bottle that you can't, they don't make it. You can't find it. This is a one-off release. Every once in a while you'll see it. You're going to pay a lot of money for a bottle of this. Because they're not making it anymore.
That's
And the stuff that they do have is getting older and older
This should
as we
go in
go.
an infinity bottle.
Yeah, right.
No.
No, we're drinking.
So let's talk about this distillery. So
Yes.
1825,
Okay.
this distillery opens. When it opened, it actually wasn't a distillery. It was a malt mill. So they started actually distilling for real in 1833.
Okay.
John Ramsey is the guy that's running it at the time, and he was a fairly innovative guy. He brought over Mr. Coffee, famous for the coffee still,
Yep.
the continuous plate still.
Yeah.
So not that Port Ellen had one, but he did a lot of research in the distillery during that time and figured out how he wanted to do it before he started doing the continuous stills for grain whiskey. It was also supposedly the first distillery that had the Septimus's Fox spirit safe.
Spirit safe.
So that was the way that the government clamped down
Taxman.
and got paid. So they did a lot of refining in the distillery and had one of those installed and figured out how it was going to be
Pioneering
used.
distillery.
Still being used today. The spirit safe is still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's got one over there,
That's
right?
what you have.
You got to pay them taxes. So
I'm gonna swirl these so you guys make good air
it's
contact.
it was in the
Alright.
family until
I don't
1920,
want to sniff it.
and then
No.
his grandson, sold the distillery to Buchanan Dewars, and so that's when it really
Alright.
got the Port Ellen name and started distilling, and they were able to hang on to it for 9 years until they had to close it down because of Prohibition.
What year you say this is?
So 1929 it
Okay.
closed. In the 60s, it got fired back up. 1967, it's fired back up. They started distilling again. And in the mid-70s, they put a malting facility, a commercial malting facility in, which is still in operation today. That's the malting facility that most of the distilleries on Islay use, and a lot of distilleries on the west side of Scotland. You all right?
No.
I'm not going to smell it yet. You guys are getting ahead.
So
I'm enjoying the listening.
So this the distillery operated until 1983, and there was some hard times, and
80s or
yeah, it was rough.
A lot of mothballs.
So the distillery shuts down, and unfortunately, they ripped all of the equipment out. They disassembled it.
That's what
and
hurts, right?
Completely gone, right?
So stills, everything. Gone.
Stills, all of it.
So
yeah.
83?
So the only things that were left were the warehouses were still there. Then they still had juice in the
And
warehouses.
what year was that?
obviously. That was 83.
This was distilled in 82.
Spring of 82.
Yep.
This
So
is
right before
some
they
of
shut
the
it.
last material.
So the warehouses are still there, and they still have juice owned by Diageo, and then the malting
figure.
facility is still there,
Everything's owned by Diageo.
and still in operation. That's been actually really successful. Diageo announced last October that they will be re-firing up Port Ellen,
Oh, that's good.
and so they're anticipating hopefully having it going by 2020 will be when they start distilling. That's what they're anticipating, but there's a couple problems with all this. Number one, there aren't any stills.
Right.
They had 4 stills in the original Port Ellen. They had 2 wash and 2 spirit, and they were doing about 1.2 million liters a year. The new distillery, from what I was able to read, they're anticipating 800,000. So, but it's all going to be for single malt Scotch. They're not sending any of it for
blending
or anything
They'll be
like
able to
that. It
sell every
just
gram
is
of
what. Yeah, they absolutely for probably a pretty
man.
penny. So that's kind of where we're at. They're looking at hoping to sell 12-year-old Scotch will be their entry level. So you're looking at 2032, 2033
Holy cow.
for the
Holy
Can you imagine?
shnikes.
Right. So what they have in the warehouses right now is all you're going to get for the next 14 years.
Yeah, but that's the price on that.
So
saltier
basically,
than
if
hell.
you find this somewhere,
Right.
you're golden.
Now the other problem they're going to have when they reopen this distillery is that there is no new make spirit for them to compare what they're getting out of these stills. So it's not
Is it
going to
club-
be exactly the same. But they are bringing in some of the people that used to work there.
Sure.
And so they do
They'll
have the
figure it
original diagrams,
They'll figure
and
it out.
so they've got a lot of information, and they feel fairly confident that they'll at least get close to it. But let's try the original and see what we think about all that.
If you haven't had a whiskey gasm,
Lord.
you're about to.
Oh my goodness.
This is a great balance between smoke and sweet.
I think Wheelhouse is going to be mentioned.
But it's such a
Wow.
deep, rich. I mean, it's not like your
That is a
overpowered
sweet
smoky
little
charcoal
Islay.
Ardbeg or a
No.
Flick. It's a really
Man.
deep, dark smoke
It's-
that's in there.
They said smoke and tar,
See, I'm not getting tar, but
and salt.
I'm getting a lot of the malt and sweetness
Salt
on
and
it. And
caramel.
what- do we even have any idea? Do
Tar.
we have any idea what they cask? I mean, what was the?
So they did bourbon and sherry,
Man,
What's the ABV?
46.
it smells higher than that.
Don't let that scare you off.
I'm not
That
scared.
smells them.
Man, this smells
Rich.
amazing.
Rich.
So you get rich smoke. You get a little bit of. I'm getting some sherry sweetness.
It's unique.
Oh yeah, there's
I'm getting
sherry
some
sweet in
alcohol,
there.
but not bad. I mean, it's expected.
Boys, that's a punch in the face.
So I'm not even. I'm,
Salted
Oh,
let's talk about the nose
holy-
before it's too late. Drew, you're the one that hasn't tasted
I have
it. Give me your
tasted it.
nose. Give me your nose on
I got
it.
salted caramel. I've got barbecue. I've got smoke. I've got
That barbecue's
there's a
coming out.
vanilla cake batter even.
I got a number already. How about that?
It smells amazing, you guys. Wow. You haven't even seen this guy. Look at this guy.
That may be the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. Holy cow.
I
I've
feel
never-
like crying.
I've never tasted anything like that.
This
Um,
is unreal.
That is like
we may have a new one.
a deeper char.
It is. It's a level
it's-
of a charcoal that I don't know if I've ever tasted before.
No, it's
But the sweet is there too, and it balances everything out. It's so good.
That is amazing.
That is
there's no way they
unreal.
can recreate that.
I can tell you right now that I can
Unique
understand
finish, too.
why this is so sought after. I mean, there's a lot of distilleries that closed over the years that people are kind of like, man, whatever. But this one is kind of a cult classic, right? I mean, people don't mind dropping $1,500 for a bottle of this
Oh my god!
if they can get their hands on it.
I
And there's
got
a
like
reason
that.
behind it.
So this isn't your classic like charcoal peat. It's like, and it's not super earthy. It is. It
Earthiness.
tastes more woody than
Yeah.
smoke. I mean, it's got a lot more of that
Oh, it
oak
smells great.
smoke balance that I've never seen before. Usually,
Yeah.
if you peat something, that's peat. You might
Yeah.
get some sweetness on it, but this has more of that oak. What
God,
what
does
I'm
that
getting
smell
out of it is an
absolutely
oak
delicious.
balance. It is just I've never seen that
Yeah.
before.
Not that I would waste this on somebody who's never had an Islay, but this is a really. I mean, it's not punching you in the nose
No.
with that.
So-
freaking, that
Here-
Lafroy. Oh my God, what was that taste?
No.
Here's my thing. Normally, when I drink an Islay, you get the smoke up front.
Yeah.
It hits you in the face, and you're like, okay. And then it calms down, and you're like, oh, yeah. And then the sweet comes in, and
Yeah.
everything just kind of lingers back through.
Yep.
This is all sweet up front. When you put it in your mouth, I don't even taste the smoke until I get it to the back of my tongue. And then it starts. Then you start to get the smoke rolling through, but it's not overpowering. It's so gentle and nice, and there's so many layers involved in this Scotch.
I
You
can
know,
just smell it all day
so-
long.
The charcoal level. So to me, it reminds me of have you guys ever like smelt a fire pit that's 2 or 3 days old?
Yeah.
In other words, it's not fresh burnt charcoal. Maybe it's been rained on once or twice. You're camping, you go to, and it's an older, like tamed down charcoal,
Yeah.
but it's still
It's got
there.
that. Yeah.
But it's not. It's like I said, like the Lafroix in your Ardbegs are
Man.
so powerful that it's almost like
Dude,
they
that's-
pour it right over a hot flame.
You
So-
nailed it for me. That's when I said fishing trip. That's exactly what it's like.
Yep.
It's going to you've camped all night. You've had a fire going, right? And you get that
The
smoky.
next morning.
And it rained that morning.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's exactly what I
Yeah,
got.
but you need to get a fire started so you have a breakfast. So
Right,
you stand
exactly,
over, that's what
yeah,
you
yeah.
smell.
So it feels like it may have oxidized a little bit in here because it is a little.
Some bacon.
Oh man! But
It's got that salty character.
I think this is one that again would be good in a.
If it's
glass for 10
oxidized,
minutes.
I don't even think
No.
I care.
But I think it oxidized to a more subtle, nuanced
So
flavor.
That could be a little bit, because
I mean,
it's been
not
sitting in the
not
bottle
bad
for a
at
while.
all. Because but I think that tone maybe I toned down some of that
Be very careful
Rich.
with water.
smoke, but man,
I
I'm
don't want to put water
getting
on
the
it.
sherry sweetness on the nose now. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's sherry.
The sherry's
yeah.
there in the finish too.
Yeah.
It's sweet and caramely
It's,
almost.
it's almost like a
Ruby fruit.
Werther's original caramel finish.
Honestly, it
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
more fruit than
reminds
that.
me of the Glendronach 15, but with that deep charcoal in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got that sherry. It's
There's
there's
a
There's a lot of
It's-
sherry.
That one's more of a sherry bomb than this is.
Well, yeah, I that one has no smoke in it at all,
No, no.
or charcoal or anything. But this one is just the sherry's there, guys. If you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
taste
yeah.
sherry,
Oh, yeah.
you're nuts.
No,
It's definitely there.
but it's been sitting in that barrel for long enough that it's just mellowed out the edges and rounded everything out.
So this was bottled in 2004.
Unbelievable.
So this is an old. I mean, it was in the barrel for 22 years. So it was a 22 year when they bottled it, and it's a good. Well then,
Like syrup, pancake syrup.
Right. Well,
Oh, we gotta get going on this thing.
Dude.
is anybody ready?
Oh my god.
Yeah, because I talked for a while to begin with. I talked. Mark, you ready?
No, I'm not.
Really, I was ready on my first sip. Everything that's come after that
Oh,
is.
the water on that.
I
Just
mean,
a little bit.
this is a long lasting
Water on it?
relationship glass.
Mhm.
Okay, this is not something I just want
I'll
to
go.
drink and go for it. Then I'm going to continue to make
so
love.
I
to
got
this.
it. I do have to give this a 4.
Good lord.
And the reason I will give that. Let's talk through some of the tasting notes because I'm going first. The smoke balance, the unique flavor of smoke coming out of this, the sweet sherry. You're right. And especially when you add the water, that the sweetness comes in first. It is not like cloyingly sweet, but it comes in and then it transitions into that smoke. But it's not that charcoal smoke. It's a rich,
rich.
oaky. I don't know. I'm running out of words here. It's a great Scotch. The finish is a really good balance with a lot of the really heavily peated. The smoke overpowers everything, but here the sweetness is able to carry through and balance that finish as well, which is quite unique.
Mhm.
So this is a 4, pretty much hands down, because I can't. There's nothing I can find that's wrong with this.
You want to give it more than a 4, right?
4 plus.
Well, you know what? The negative is you can't get it.
Yeah.
And you can.
Well, I mean, ultimately, in the if I were to factor in price and availability, then there's a whole different
But we're not doing that.
perspective. This is a unique bottle. It's a special bottling. It's a specialty bottle that.
If you could find this on the shelf right now, you'd still give it a 4 for
You would.
$200-300.
You would.
Well, it'd
no
be
doubt.
try 15.
No, I'm just saying, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
from a price point perspective, right?
Yeah.
So,
Probably the best Scotch I've tasted. Go.
Freaking amazing. I mean, it's freaking believable. If the Speyside and the Islay had a baby,
I just had a visual of that, and it's really weird.
This is
I'm not going to describe it.
But it's
Geological.
a perfect. It's like a Tom Cruise of a baby. It's perfect, right? As far as just the subtleness of the smoke, it's just enough there. The sweetness of the space side is there. The nose is there with water. I actually think, both sides. I loved it neat, and I loved it with water too. Actually, it was just enough subtles. I think it was a little bit more balanced with water. I think you have to be careful not to put too much on there.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed this one. I cannot foresee any of us giving this
He's a
less than
1.5.
a 4. I mean, because
He's gonna give it a
this
1.5.
is amazing. I wish I could buy this. AW, you were the man. Thank you. This is amazing scotch. 4. I'm not even going to talk anymore. I'm just going to drink 4.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
This is going in my pocket.
I believe that I was harping on this bottle for like 2 months. Like, we really need to try this one.
Yeah.
This one's going to be awesome.
We should.
Everybody's like, oh, but we've got, these other scotches to try. And I'm like, I think we should probably hit this one. I think it'll be really good.
I'm glad you did the research.
Oh my God, it's really
Yeah,
good.
you did it. Well,
So here's the
well
deal. I kind of agree with you. It's almost like you get a couple of scotches that are like really deep and rich and well balanced scotches, and throw them together because you've got like a really deep, complex space side with the sweetness and the complexity that those kinds of scotches have.
Yep.
Married in with an Islay that's got that deep, smoky complexity, and they just kind of form together, and they have this awesome class together. Everything about it, every time I take a sip, there's new details and new depths.
Yes.
But the whole aspect of it being sweet up front, which is really weird. Normally, if you get a smoky scotch, it's smoky up front.
Yep.
It gives the sweetness, then the smoke comes in, and then I'm getting a little bit of a briny quality towards the back, like a little bit of salt and sea spray.
Yeah.
And the linger is nice. Nothing's overpowering. It's very, very subtle, but it stays with you, and it doesn't dissipate, and it's just amazing. I love this bottle.
It's complex.
I'm really.
1.5.
I can't wait till what is it? 2032. That's when we get when we can buy a bottle that we can afford, right?
Yeah.
So there you go, 4 for me. What you got, man?
Man, no pressure.
Just throw it.
No, it's a 4. It's a
We
4.
have 2 4 all around.
This is definitely there. I mean, honestly, this is an absolutely wonderful. I mean, this is it. This is it. When I want a scotch,
This is why I drink scotch.
it really is. It reminds me a lot of one we just tried not too long ago, the Glengoyne 25, but with this
The kicker.
really deep, rich charcoal that's not overpowered. It doesn't remind me of an Islay. It doesn't have the punch in the nose and in the palate that's going to say, "Hey, here's a chunk of peat. Chew on this." But it's there. There's an old peat into it that gives that deep, rich cherry a little bit of an edge. And you're definitely, what's weird is it doesn't hit you up front. You guys just said that. It's usually you expect to be punched in the nose, right? And all you get sherry. You're like, oh my God, this is delicious. And then this hint of charcoal peat smoke comes in at the end, and you're like, oh my God. Like, well,
Everything.
how did
about
they put that in there at that time, right? It's like it's a miracle. It's an absolute
It's
joy to
almost
drink.
perfect.
It really is delicious. Kudos to Alan for letting us have a glass of this.
Well,
This
and
is,
kudos to Provenance for keeping
I
this.
mean, this is a treat, you guys. And
This is a once in a
I feel blessed to be able to say
like
that I had a glass of it, honestly, because it's amazing.
You were a
And
man, dude. Thank you so much. I love it.
It's straightforward. There's
God.
You can't not give it a 4.
This is our
guys.
second only 4 ever on our show.
And I am sad. In fact, you push us on us for the last 2 months. We tried, and I kept pushing back because I know that once I've had it, it's gone.
I can't unhand it.
I'll never. Right? I can't forget you. You know what I mean?
You complete
I
me.
won't forget you,
Yeah.
babe.
I'm gonna be listening to old freaking heartbreak songs for the rest of my life, thinking of this bottle.
This
right?
bottle completes me.
I might have to have a little slow jam in the intro.
We only got 14 years to wait.
What a glass, and it won't be this.
It won't be this.
So easy
This is
math.
22 years on the back of the barrel.
4s, dude. Man, that's impressive. This is a
Unbelievably good.
unbelievable bottle.
The
Guys.
nose
So
is just-
I'm looking forward to them firing this back up.
Yep.
Now I understand what the hype's about.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
So-
I agree with the hype,
Yeah.
I do too.
gentlemen. Cilantro.
Cilantro.
We'll see you guys. Subscribe, like the video right now. Every Thursday we are live. We'll see you guys. Take care.
Cheers.